I need you to do an intro.
All right. The young nephew was not recording.
It's been about 100 episodes.
You
since
can
that happened.
you can cut that out. Thank you.
Please
Edgar.
do an intro. You're supposed to intro us, right?
And we're back.
See?
Seeking Wisdom is back.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be back in the house.
Yeah.
This is the second episode since the now famous, infamous sabbatical.
Yeah. I caught something in the first episode. This is me giving live feedback to the crew that manages our podcast. They didn't let the music rock.
Oh, you got to let the music flow a little bit.
They didn't let the music rock. They played it for 1 second.
No. It's got to build. It's got to build.
All right, so James, Ryan, and crew, I'm listening to you. I'm watching you. Okay, let the music.
We got a crew now.
Listen. Please edit this right. Let people nod their head and then drop it.
Yeah, then drop it.
Yeah.
But we're back. We're here to bring some knowledge. I'm excited. If you don't know me, my name is DC.
Yes.
David Cancel.
Yes.
A.K.A. the uncle.
Uh-huh.
A.K.A. OG. A.K.A. old guy.
Old guy. OG and old guy are the same.
Same. Not to me. OG is original gangster. And who are you?
I'm DG, aka the nephew. I think I'm the heart and soul of this podcast. But you know what's funny?
What?
I was on a sales call yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and these two guys, they were about to buy Drift. And I love to just hop on calls and just wave or whatever. And people are like, oh, they're like, we love Seeking Wisdom. And this one guy, I forget it. Shout out to you. I forget your name. I'm so sorry. We got him Hypergrowth tickets, so he's fine. He's like, yo, I got some feedback for you though. I was like, what? He's like, we need more DC.
There we go.
I was like,
there we go.
Ooh,
There we go.
wow.
Thank you.
So that, not only is that a shot at me because that means I haven't been doing this enough consistently, but I said he was gone for a month. We'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're back and we're here right now. You're anxiously watching this. Well, we'll fix it. Don't worry.
We're all good.
So I was thinking, okay, this guy says to me, we need more DC. What are my options? And I was like, you know what? There's nothing more DC than books. So I thought we could do on this episode, we could rewind some of the, summer's not over, but we could give people some of the books that we've been reading and enjoying this summer.
That is true. And while I love that shout out from the young nephew on the other end, I don't know his name.
Uh-huh.
I've been thinking less DC.
You have?
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah,
to
this
hear.
is a.
Why don't we put it out to the
No.
Seeking Wisdom community?
No.
Less DC, more DC.
This is I've been battling on him for years now. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight, but I keep trying to tell him, man, you're the face of this movement, and he doesn't want to do it. So tweet at him at DCancel. We need you to be the face. Just I want to make him uncomfortable.
Or the opposite. Less DC.
Less DC.
All right, we're here to talk about my favorite topic, which is books.
Okay, so
what book specifically?
So I had some fun last night and I wrote an outline and I got a bunch of books.
Mm-hmm.
I know you'll contribute to this.
Yes.
I mean, granted, all these books that I read came from you anyway, so maybe you don't need to contribute them.
I was looking at your list because I actually broke the number one rule of Seeking Wisdom was for me to read DG's list.
You looked?
Stuff that we talked about.
You looked?
Yeah, I looked this morning.
I shouldn't have sent
morning.
it. This is my fault. I shouldn't have sent it
Breaks
to you.
the rules. So if the flow is off, we'll blame DG.
Okay, so I'm going to give you, on my list, I have 4 books. DC might add more, but let's go. We're going to break the rule of 3s and we're going to go with 4. Okay? Book number 1. This is actually, let's make this about me. This is my education this summer, okay? So
I like that. Maybe we'll subtitle this, The Education of a Young Nephew.
The Education of a Young Nephew. Damn, I'm going to write that down. The Education of a young nephew. That's kind of like the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, but way different.
Exactly, way different.
Okay, so book number 1 is called the Tao. Is that how you say it? The Tao of Charlie Munger.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know these words.
It can be pronounced. I pronounce it just the Tao of Charlie Munger, although I'm from Queens and you're from Worcester, so someone can correct us. This here little book, if you follow me on Instagram, DCancel, shout it out.
Shout it out.
I did a little, I highlighted all the big passages that I loved from this book, and I posted it as one big photo share on Instagram on DCancel.
Yes.
So check it out if you want. But this book I love. As you probably know, but there are thousands of new listeners all the time. For those new listeners, I have an obsession, a love, a passion,
a man crush
on
Charlie
a relationship with Charlie Munger.
One time DC stood up at a company meeting and he's like, we may have this might have been a title of a blog post. It was like, why I have a man crush on this 92-year-old man or something like that.
92-year-old man. If you see him, he looks good. He looks good. But anyway, Charlie Munger is the partner of Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, billionaire. He has been called by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett the smartest man that they have both met in their lives. That's saying something. When Bill Gates says you're the smartest man they've ever met.
By the way, there's a lesson in there, right? Warren Buffett, he started Berkshire Hathaway.
Yes.
Right?
And he brought on Charlie Munger as
who
a
is
partner.
smarter than him.
Because he was smarter than he was.
Lesson in there.
Lesson. Humility. Anyway, Charlie Munger, this book, The Tao of Charlie Munger, goes into, and I love the way it's written because it basically goes by different, each chapter is one point, one quote, and a chapter can be as small as a paragraph. And, right here, just what I was saying, Charlie Munger is truly the broadest thinker I have ever encountered. Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. That's a good quote.
Can we get quotes like this?
That's a good quote.
Charlie Munger is the architect of today's Berkshire. Berkshire has been built to Charlie's blueprint.
Wow.
My role has been that of general contractor.
Come on.
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. That's pretty good. So tell
me what you learned.
I've watched videos of Charlie Munger. I watched the Buffett documentary, and I finally grabbed this book because really cool thing that we do at Drift. This is not to plug us, but we have books that we love just around the office. Yep. And the other night I was leaving work and I needed a new book, and I saw a stack of these books, like literally a stack of 10 of these books.
Yep.
I just grabbed one.
Big stacks of them.
Grabbed one. Nobody's like, yo, you have to check. No, I just took
yours.
one. So it's mine now. And so I read it, and there's I love it. It's easy to read. It's a lot of quotes and commentary, a lot of finance stuff in there that's way over my head. But And the other thing is that this is where you must have got your obsession with cognitive biases from.
Yes.
Is Charlie Munger?
Yeah. Well, I had it from reading Influence.
Okay.
And Charlie Munger's obsession came from the same place. It came from him reading Influence.
Wow.
And he credits Cialdini
Love it.
with teaching
Shout out to you, doctor. I call you doctor because we met you. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, which you should be, we got all these books here.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and then click the little bell button so you get notified every time we post a new
Gonzalo's
video.
nervous about the number of YouTube subscribers we're trying to get this year.
Yeah, we gave him a big goal.
So don't make him nervous. But there was two. So the whole section I love was about learning. And it's funny because this is stuff you've talked about, but I didn't really put it together until reading this book. One quote that I loved, he talked about learning machines, right? He said, I constantly see people rise in life who are not the smartest, sometimes not even the most diligent, but they're learning machines. They go to bed every single night a little wiser than they were when they got up. And boy, does that help, particularly when you have a long run ahead of you.
That is, if you don't know me,
that's like that's your bio. That's
my bio. That is my favorite quote of all time in all history. If that could fit on a tattoo across the chest, it would be here right now.
Like when we met Dr. Cialdini at this conference, and he reached into his pocket and he handed me his 6 principles card. Like that should be a card on in your pocket.
In my pocket that I hand out to strangers.
Yeah. So that was one. I love that. That one punched me right in the gut for sure. I felt the power of that firsthand. The second quote that really stood out to me was reading. He said about reading. He said, in my whole life, this is same thing that Jim Rohn said. In my whole life, I've known no wise people over a broad subject matter area who didn't read all the time. None, zero. You'd be amazed at how much Warren reads and at how much I read. My children laugh at me. They think I'm a book with a couple of legs sticking out.
Salute.
I love that.
Salute, Charlie.
I love that. So this book was great. It's one of those books where you don't learn anything new, but it just reinforces all the things that you thought. So that's book number 1, The Tao, with a T, of Charlie Munger, available on Amazon, but also available in the Drift lobby.
Yes.
If you ever want to come by.
Come on by the Drift Library
lobby
anytime, San Francisco and Boston, and pick up a copy.
Okay, book number 2 is Confessions of an Advertising Man by David Ogilvy. And I have a confession.
What?
Through this podcast, I've come to be known as this Ogilvy connoisseur, right? Mm-hmm. I never read this book.
I know. I had to put you on that.
You had to put me on it because I got addicted to Ogilvy on Advertising, which came later in life.
I think this is better.
This book is first, and it's better. This book was published in the 60s, Ogilvy on Advertising. Wait, by the way, why are you reading a book that's in the 60s, man? Why are you reading a book? This is where the
real lessons are.
So this was written in the 60s. Ogilvy on Advertising was published in the 80s, and Ogilvy on Advertising is basically like his hits, all the pictures of the ads. So I love this. But I finally read this one, and I love it because unlike Ogilvy on Advertising, which is really visual and collection, this to me is like a playbook. It's why we love Behind the Clouds so much, how Benioff's whole book is like 200 plays. This is plays. So the chapters in this book, for example, are like how to manage an agency, how to get clients, how to keep clients, how to be a good client, how to write potent copy, all that stuff. So if you are interested in copywriting and all this stuff, you got to go get this one.
This is the Confessions of an Advertising Man. And I would guess,
yes,
reading this book a couple times, that
He said it a couple times.
Benioff's book
Was based on this?
is based on this.
Wow.
That's
a hot take. That's a hot take.
I would put my own hard-earned money on that. That framework is based on this. If you read this, you'll see the pattern. And if it is, that's not me dissing. That's a shout out.
That's intentional.
That's a shout out. That's a salute to Benioff if he did actually base it on this.
Shout to you, Mark. Anyway, a couple nuggets that I love for this book. First of all, I can't say enough about going back and studying this type of stuff, but he said, I pulled out a couple nuggets. Any damn fool can put on a price reduction, but it takes brains and perseverance to create a brand. What does that mean?
Fire. Yeah, everyone wants to run to the lower price. But Ogilvy, the master of modern advertising, knew the truth.
Okay. He also said, this is a secret. I'm okay with exposing the secret because I think most people won't do anything with it, but I'm going to give you this secret anyway. Every copywriter, and in my terms, I use copywriter, should just mean marketer. So I'm going to reread this quote. Every marketer should start his or her career by spending 2 years in direct response. One glance at any advertisement tells me whether the copywriter has ever had that experience. That to me says everything about why you put me on copywriting 2 years ago.
Yeah, because there is no marketing without knowing about one, cognitive biases and social psychology.
What did Mike Troiano, shout out to you at Mike Trap? What did he tell us earlier this week? All great marketers, you want to be a great marketer? Become a student of human response.
Bingo. Man, shout it out to Mike Trap on Twitter. Mike, TRAP.
Nothing else matters in marketing.
Nothing else matters. That is the key. And I was like, DG, you got to bring that back to the young marketers on the team here at Drift. Like, if you want to be good, you can ignore this. If you want to be great, you have to be a student of human response. And that is exactly what Ogilvy is saying in that. And by saying that you have to spend the first 2 years in direct response, because that is the study of human response.
Yep. So that's actually what we're talking about on our Friday meeting tomorrow, 2 p.m. is that. Last quote from Ogilvy that I love was actually on hiring. He said, I admire people who hire people who are good enough to exceed them. I pity people who are so insecure that they feel compelled to hire inferiors as their subordinates.
It's funny because an amazing thing about reading the greats, whether it's Ogilvy, going back in time, reading ancient tomes, whatever it is, you'll notice once you start doing that the same patterns come up over and over and over again. And because they come up so often, it's easy for us to overlook them,
for sure,
to be blind to them because they become so common. But you got to turn around, you got to invert and flip it and say the reason these patterns are coming up so often is because these are the core truths.
For sure. That's, if anything, to me, that's why I love reading now, because it just reinforces the stuff. Like this to me, like that's a lesson we've been talking a lot about, but because this man wrote it in 1963, I actually believe it more now because I'm like, it's still true.
It's still true.
40, 50 years later.
Yeah. This is not some newfangled idea.
So go and get yourself this. By the way, this book cost $9. Unbelievable.
Your latte costs more than $9.
It does. I go to twice a day. It's $10. Okay, before we get to Mr. Shep Gordon, the High-Growth Handbook.
Yep.
This is like, man. Okay, so when I saw this book, I was like, this book is gonna be $40. This book was $10.
Unbelievable.
$10. So you got this first, so I want you to tell me about this book.
So this is a great book here. It's called the High-Growth Handbook. And a reason that it is $10, it is that it is published by the good people, our good friends at Stripe.
I hope you were going to start there.
And if you don't know Stripe is a payments company, kind of revolutionizing payments. And for most people, Stripe is a back-end API provider, so they may not even know the name. But they're rethinking payments, modern payments, and most of the stuff that you pay for online is probably going through Stripe. Anyway, the reason that I point that out is because something that we talk about a lot here, and others, others are starting to listen, copy, wake up.
There's a lot of copying out there.
A lot of people talking about branding and B2B.
Brand is so hot right now.
A bunch of this stuff. But anyway, I digress. Shout it out. The amazing thing that you see from the good friends at Stripe here is that they've invested in building not a pamphlet, not an ebook, not a white paper, not a form, not a download, but publishing a real valuable book.
You know what Stripe
and subsidizing it.
They ran laps. They ran marketing laps around people by publishing this book.
Look at that. Look at the inside. Look at the inside of that. This is a reason you have to subscribe to our YouTube so you can actually see what I'm pointing at here. But if you look at the quality of this,
it's amazing.
It's mind blowing. But anyway, they got and excuse me if I mispronounce your name.
It's okay.
But you're a hero, Elad Gil. So how I did the Elad?
Yeah, it was good. It was
Israeli
nice.
style.
Yeah.
And Elad Gil, who's the author of this book, is a well-known. I've heard his name forever.
Sure.
Entrepreneur, operating exec, and investor to such companies. You may have heard of some of these. Airbnb.
Heard of them.
Coinbase.
Yes.
Checker.
No.
Gusto.
Yes.
We use Instacart.
Yes.
Open Door. Pinterest.
Yes.
Square. Stripe. Wish, and others.
Pretty good.
Pretty
so
decent.
You should. Right? He's a good guy to follow for a role model.
You know, previously he was the VP of corporate strategy at Twitter, and spent many years at Google, McKinsey, and he graduated from. He has a PhD from MIT right here.
Pretty good.
In sunny Boston. But anyway, he wrote this book, and what I love about this book is that it's a series. I love the style that it's written. It's a series of interviews.
You know what it reminded me of? Remember that book, Founders at Work, the Jessica Livingston book? It reminded me a lot of
Jessica.
that.
Yep. And it's very much like that. And he goes into different chapters like managing the board and hiring a team and all that stuff. But the way that he answers those questions that we all have is not in his own words. It is by conducting a series of interviews with some of the best and brightest that there are out there, right? And look at that. They have even a chapter here on hypergrowth. Organizational structure and hypergrowth.
On September 4th, actually.
Yeah, in Boston.
What I love about this book is, and I haven't gotten my way through it yet, but I've read pieces of it.
And this is a book that's made to, you can skim around to areas that you care about.
The beginning of this book, man, we're just doing free press out here on Seeking Wisdom today.
Elad, shout it out.
Elad, what's up? He said it's not to be read through, but to flip through it like a guide. And I love that. So I got it the other night, flipped through it, went right to marketing. And it was an interview with the CMO of LinkedIn, Shannon Brayton. And this is why I love this book, is because she just talked about like her life as a CMO. And she said the role of CMO is to be good at 100 different things. And a CMO can come from a number of different backgrounds. She's a CMO, but her expertise is in communications, not demand gen, not brand expert, not product marketing. So she hires strong in those areas. I love that as an example because I think that's true in every role. Everybody that's in any department anywhere wants to feel like they have to know everything.
Yes.
Right?
All the time.
If you're going to run engineering, you got to know everything top to bottom. If you're going to run sales, you got to know everything top to bottom.
Yep.
But she made it clear, no, you got to build a team. What are you doing right now? You're looking at notes. Are you getting ready for your session?
I'm not looking at notes.
Okay. DC's looking at books on his phone. He's looking for highlights. I know that for a fact. The other thing she said on hiring, which is really powerful, is she said, I always tell my teams, if you were to start with a blank slate, what would your team look like? Don't optimize for one person. It's very easy to say, well, we have this person who's great at this, but you need to think about what moves make sense for the whole company and then figure out if you have the right people.
DG, I would suggest that you read that every night before you go to bed. And meditate.
Thank you.
Meditate on
I will.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying you might want to meditate.
It's a good lesson. It's a very good lesson. It's a very good lesson. Are you gonna? Okay. Can I go on to the next book?
Let's go.
I don't know what you're doing.
Don't worry.
High-Growth Handbook. Okay. Last book. I got to tell you something. This might be my favorite book I've read in a long time.
This is a DC hidden gem.
Hidden gem.
Super mensch. And if you are
hidden gem,
if you subscribe on YouTube to us and you leave a little comment about this book here, I will post a link to a photo of Becky, our own Becky here who works at Drift, with the super mensch himself, and Shep Gordon and Alice Cooper.
Come on.
Yeah.
When was that?
I can't. Are you subscribed to YouTube?
No. Yeah, I am. Actually.
Okay, so I'll answer you in the comments.
So this book was incredible. DC sent me this a couple months ago and said, please make Shep Gordon your mentor and study it. And it would have been easy to say, well, this guy's a rock and roll manager. I don't even like rock and roll. And also, what does that have to do with marketing? I learned so much about marketing from this damn book right here. And you've probably seen it. Maybe you've seen a documentary, but the book is phenomenal because it's his take.
Yeah, there's a Netflix documentary, right?
Yes. So Shep was the manager for Alice Cooper, Teddy Pendergrass. He brought Emeril Lagasse and all the whole celebrity chef movement over here, the Gypsy Kings, and so many more people. And I won't tell you all his stories from the book, but this was a lesson for me in reminding myself that the best lessons about marketing don't come from people who actually say they do marketing. This guy was a PR freaking genius.
Bingo. You nailed it right there. The best lessons in marketing are not in marketing.
They're not in marketing.
No. They're from people like this who have created something out of nothing, right? This is, if you're into the cooking channel, into any celebrity chef, it all traces back to being popularized by my man here, right? Like you said, Emeril Lagasse, Wolfgang Puck, Roger Verger,
come on,
Daniel Boulud, like all of these people managed by him. You know who else?
Who?
The late great
who?
Chef?
Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is a Bourdain book.
Yes.
That's right. He put this book on. Pretty good lineup.
So Anthony Bourdain himself,
pretty good,
who was managed, the late great Anthony Bourdain was managed by Shep Gordon and was a longtime friend, and he actually put this together. And if you watch the documentary on this, which is available, I believe, on Netflix, that was put together by another friend of Shep Gordon,
Mike Myers.
Right? If you don't know Mike Myers, Austin Powers,
get to know him.
Yeah, he's a famous comedian. So that says a lot. And this guy did not want to be famous, did not want to write a book, and his friends pushed so hard and believed in him so much they forced him to write this book and to do the movie.
It's an amazing book. I'm going to give you, I don't want to give away all the secrets. I'm going to give you one Shep Gordon story.
Don't give away too much.
When he was trying to put Alice Cooper, when he was trying to make him famous,
yes,
so they were in London in the busiest traffic circle in the city, and he bought a big truck. And they put a poster, they put a billboard of Alice Cooper, like basically naked on it, in a massive like 18-wheeler truck. And he told the driver, I want you to go in the middle of rush hour and I want you to just break the truck down in the middle of traffic. He goes, I don't care what happens. I'll take care of you. I'll bail you out, whatever.
Yeah.
So this guy goes,
when you go to prison,
I got you, and I'll write you a big check.
And he did go to prison.
So literally at rush hour, the busiest intersection in London, there's a 18-wheeler. They broke it down. It caused massive chaos and hysteria in the city.
The driver went to jail.
The driver went to jail, and then they sold out the Alice Cooper show because it had the whole London being like, who the hell is this Alice Cooper guy? Exactly. I got to go to the show.
And on every news program.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So if you're going to Dreamforce this year, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Break down a giant 18-wheeler.
So yeah, that's all I got. You have notes or something, or are we done?
Yeah. No, I have a few books that I read a lot of books on my sabbatical.
Yes.
Obviously read a lot of books all the time, but 3 books really hit home for me. Yeah. And funny enough, this never happens, but all 3 books are from the same author, Daniel Coyle. Shout it out. I went deep on him. So our good friend Richard Banfield suggested the book Culture Code.
Fresh Tilled Soil
founder. And he suggested a book called Culture Code, which a lot of people had sent my way, but I never read.
Yeah.
And because I was going on sabbatical, I ordered a copy, read it, and I loved that book so much that I went to his older book, which was called The Talent Code, right? And Talent Code, amazing, right? It's all about deep practice, right? And then I loved that book so much that I was like, I got to get more. I read a book that's basically an addendum to that book, and it's called The Little Book of Talent. And The Little Book of Talent reminds me a lot of the way that both the Tao of Charlie Munger as well as the High-Growth Handbook was written. And I'm violating a rule here, and I did go for some highlights there.
Good.
But you sold me out.
Good.
Right? And
I mean, nobody would believe you if you memorized it, so go.
No, that's true. Some highlights from that, the third book from Daniel Coyle, The Little Book of Talent. One of the highlights that I love is the key to deep practice is to reach. This means to stretch yourself slightly beyond your current ability, spending time in the zone of difficulty called the sweet spot. It means embracing the power of repetition. So the action becomes fast and automatic. It means creating a practice space. This is what we talk about all the time. But all of us want to shy away from it. They want to move away from it. And this is it. And he studied musicians, sports players, business people, everyone. And it came back down to the same thing, which is deep practice was the key to success, right? It wasn't the amount of practice necessarily, like the 10,000 hour rule. It was the amount of hours spent in deep practice. And I want you all to go out and pick up that book and take a read. It's a small little book. It'll take you 1 hour to 2 hours to read. I think you'll appreciate that. But I want you to also subscribe on YouTube. You can find us. Search for Seeking Wisdom.
Please.
Or Drift on YouTube.
Yeah.
Ignore all the car drifting channels and come find us. Find one that has 2 bald guys on it.
Yeah. Hey, DG,
almost
DC,
bald,
DC,
and
DG.
Fully bald.
Hell yeah.
And find us on there. We'll put a link in the show
Spotify's
notes.
jumping. We just got on Spotify. We already got a bunch of downloads from it.
Oh, yeah. We're on Spotify now, so there's no excuses. That there was some people holding out because we weren't on Spotify. So this podcast is available on Spotify. The only downside of Spotify is that you can't leave a 6-star review, but you can share Spotify now on Instagram stories. So
that's the easiest way.
Easiest way. Share it over there. And then leave a 6-star review. And if you share us, if we find you in the 6-star review or find you in an Instagram story and you tag us, we will enter you into a very elite contest that we're having that involves flying you out to either Boston or San Francisco, giving you the VIP treatment.
DC. This guy's gonna kill me.
And joining us at Seeking Wisdom. I am
he
saying
did it again. We're 3 weeks out from hypergrowth. We're gonna try to find flights for these people across the country.
Amen. That's how I do it. I am saying this now, but I haven't reviewed the hypergrowth budget. So this might be a budget breaker.
It's large.
Oh my God! Oh no!
No, it's large enough where no flight will break.
We'll put a dent. Yeah, there won't be a dent in it.
So you heard it. DC is gonna fly you again to hypergrowth. We already cashed in on 3 of those.
All right, that's good.
Let's go.
Let's go some more. So 6-star reviews only. Remember, Apple still fronting, still holding back.
Yeah.
They only allow 5 stars as of my last check.
That's true.
And but leave a 5-star review, but then leave a 6-star rating inside that review and shout it out. I've missed being on this show.
Me too.
Hopefully the fans won't say that they want less DC.
I was just looking. I try to let the numbers tell the truth, and you got some work to do. But we'll get you back up there.
Damn, I need to get back on top.
Tweet at this man. Let's go.
All right. See ya.